have this on the outline, so I hope it's not too much of a curveball for the two of you. But you know, with a lot of organizations, at least that I'm talking with, that are omni-channel, for the more established organizations, you know, I'll just use the use case. If a organization has an Amazon presence, direct to consumer presence, a brick and mortar presence, a lot of times they'll have kind of owners of each of those businesses. You know, each of those owners will have P&Ls that they're managing. There may also be a brand manager that owns the P&L for specific product lines across, you know, all distribution channels. And historically, you know, a lot of times organizations, those three channels will kind of work in silos, and they're kind of gold against their P&Ls for certain growth targets. I'd be curious, you know, in this new omni-channel world, you know, how have you all seen some, you know, adjustments or evolutions in how the internal team structure should operate to realize this vision of being omni-channel and doing what's best for the customer? I guess what I'm trying to ask is, you know, what have you seen, or where do you think brands need to evolve to be able to operate more efficiently in this, you know, omni-channel world?
Well, Phil, I've got a deep passion on this, primarily just from the .com and the brick and mortar world. I can speak to having the two channels, and if there's more, if an organization has more than that, having all of them really aligned so that there's not competition for inventory or for sales. That is the best approach. Generally speaking, I think ultimately having a leader that is over the total performance, retail performance, is critical. I also think that reevaluating how companies compensate and bonus teams on performance, that they're involving all channels that they have in what the total like contribution to that total performance is critical. That really helps alleviate the competition and, let's say, the potential hoarding of merchandise or not fulfilling it because I want it for my store customer, or vice versa. Maybe .com doesn't want to share the inventory with stores because, you know, they need to save it to create or to achieve a sales plan. So really alleviating that as much as possible and making it about total retail sales performance achievement, and basing bonuses or compensation structures on that, I think is a key factor that retailers need to consider if they haven't already.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of that specific element of omni-channel presence, where you have, let's say, a particular category of products being sold across different channels. I mean, typically I come from a distribution background, and we used to have mass market retailers, we used to have online retailers, we used to have resellers, etc. And the most important factor in that is for us to make sure that we maintain a retail price point that does not differentiate a customer buying at any different, you know, venues, whether it's online, offline, etc. So to maintain that, the stuff that we do behind is the rebate structure that we have across these different channels, right? What happens is the retail pricing doesn't change, but the rebate structure changes based on volume, based on customer, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, what's more important, I would think, is basically giving a seamless experience for your customer, making sure that at the end of the day, what matters is the customer benefit, the consumer benefit, and internally, it is about consistency, right? It's about making sure that your brand visibility, communication, etc., is consistent across channel. You're not talking London, looking Tokyo, but it's at the end of the day being extremely consistent in what messaging you want to give. But the internal stuff is something that's very clearly managed through rebates and compensations and benefits that Kristi just talked about. At the end of the day, the objective is to move the brand forward across different channels. That's the whole objective. And to get that going is basically to have a very optimized solution in the back end that runs and enables that.